episode of the AV experience where drama comes to live. This is drama's home. We come to stir it up and just let it all out. And Jonathan's laughing because we both strongly dislike drama, but the things we may talk about today may cause a little drama, not because we're trying to, but I think the industry is in a little bit of a weird place. And mainly around projection. Speakers really haven't changed a whole lot. Talk a little bit about projection. We're not going to pick on anybody in particular. And I think this is more a tale of caution for people that are looking for new equipment, that are thinking about making another purchase. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. You watched
Aliens.
How are you? You said you're exhausted.
I'm tired. Today was a real busy day.
How do you feel when people walk up to you and go, Jonathan, you look tired. Have you been sleeping enough? I hate that. And I have a resting bee face. So, of course, like I always look like that. I'm like, this is my normal face. I don't know what you want from me. This is normal.
Something wrong, Ryan? No, it's just me.
Just me. What does that tell you about me?
Yeah.
Or your perception of me? Have you not realized that I'm always like this and I have a resting bee face? Get out of here. Anyway, you had an exhausting day. I'm here to brighten your life like I always do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You tolerate me. Are you going to the get-together this weekend at John's?
I am.
Okay. So you're not coming over after I go to your place and you're going to John's.
Right.
You would ditch me. I get it. It's fine.
Wait a minute. We tried to work this all out in text like 3 days ago.
No, this is all about
making acted like it's brand new.
No, this is all about making the viewers see what I want them to see, right? That's the topic of today. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting you in a bad light.
Yeah, I see how that works.
This is how Jonathan is, ladies and gentlemen. That you're seeing Jonathan's true colors, and that's red.
Oh my gosh.
So you watched Aliens 4.
Yeah.
And shockingly, you said
I think I liked it better than Aliens 3.
That's not a high bar, but I get it.
So Aliens 1 and 2 is a toss-up. They're both really good. I like them a lot. Aliens 3 I still enjoyed, but it was kind of like, this is getting a little odd. Aliens 4 kind of brought it back around for me. I didn't hate it. It wasn't as odd as Aliens 3. There wasn't the giant plot hole that Aliens 3 had from the very first moment.
Yeah.
Like my daughter and I were watching Aliens 3. We just watched Aliens 1 and 2 together, over the course of a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, the plot hole is like, well, how did that alien get there? Like, where did it come from? And there's an ox. We watched the extended edition. There's an ox that has the baby in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how did the baby get in the ox? Where did the runner? I think it's called a runner. The Alien 3. It can't lay eggs. So how did the egg get in the ox? What the egg was already in the cryosos chamber, if you will, whatever they like. It had invaded the little girl or invaded Ripley or something. Somehow she got infected, and then this alien somehow infected an ox. Like none of it makes any sense from the get-go on that. I texted the little group that I was kind of asked, like, where did this come from? I was like, don't pay too much attention to that. Well, that's like a giant plot hole from the very get-go.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys hear the 3D printer in the background?
No.
Okay. If you guys can hear it, let me know and I'll pause it.
And then there was some in the Aliens 3, there was some like little weird religion influences that really didn't make any sense. And it almost seemed like, I don't know. When you try to add that stuff and act like you're trying to add that and it's really just making fun of it and makes no sense in the tolerance of religion, like in the idea of religion, like that's not how Christianity works. And they were kind of like adding all that stuff, but it was Hollywood stylish, and I don't know, it's turn off to me in that sense. And 4 had none of that. 4 was just like good old.
4 was a
Aliens
cinematic masterpiece, is what Jonathan
said. No, I didn't.
Just amazing.
No, I didn't say that at all.
That's what.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was still fun.
Okay.
I mean, far-fetched. Ripley comes back. If you haven't seen it, I hadn't seen it. I've
seen them all multiple times.
Ripley comes back. She's cloned in, but she's cloned in with the alien still inside her, the queen, in fact, 200 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And now she has to figure out who she is because she doesn't have all of her memories, but she has some core memories, like a little weird kind of nonsense stuff. But they they are on some sort of research vessel where they're cloning her back. The original corporation's gone. There's a new corporation that's replaced it. Some mercenaries had brought humans for the new alien embryos to
Mhm.
manifest in. They cut loose, of course, and there's some silliness in it that, like, well, why would the character do that? But there always is,
Yeah.
except for the original Aliens, not so much in the original Aliens,
Not so much in the
and
original.
maybe not even in 2. Like,
There were some funky decisions that were made in 2, but it was to bridge that gap. The first Aliens and Alien and Aliens are kinda different movies. One's an action movie, one's more of a horror movie. Uh, Aliens is my favorite. I do like Alien. Aliens is my favorite, though.
mhm,
Alien is my favorite horror movie, but Aliens is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just a great movie. Those when the sentry guns start going and stuff,
mhm.
it's so good. So good. Did I watch anything? Did we talk about have we talked since I watched 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple,
No, I haven't heard you talk about that one.
or Craven,
Neither.
or Three Billboards?
You're on a tear.
I did. Well, I watched 3. That's been since Toxic Avenger.
Mm.
Have we did we
We did
talk
talk
about
about
Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, we did
We
talk about
did. Okay. So I watched 3 Billboards. 3 Billboards won some awards, right? I evidently like movies that a lot of other people don't like. I got a lot of hate for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, and some of these more artsy movies that I actually really enjoy that are just drama, and I appreciate. I like the drama part of them. So, Three Billboards was very much like that. It is a slow burn. The acting was fantastic. It was another Peter Dinklage movie, actually. He was in
that.
it. He did a
Uh-huh.
great job. He wasn't in it for very long, but he did a great job, and I really enjoyed it. I won't ruin it for anybody. I won't talk about the plot or anything, but it's a slow burn. You may or may not like it. It's pretty dark for a drama. Craven was just bad. I don't Craven was one of those movies that was bad, but it didn't realize that it was bad,
Oh,
and it was just bad.
is it a horror movie as well, or
No,
like a
no, it
supernatural thing?
was an action adventure thriller. So, I don't even remember how he gets his powers. Oh, he gets them from a lion and a voodoo witch doctor, and he has lion powers. And the movie takes itself pretty seriously, and it made $61 million at the box office, and it was not good. But anyway, don't waste your time on that. And then the other movie I watched was 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which if you rem did you watch 28 Years Later? Did we
I
watch that
started
together?
watching one of the
Okay.
first one, I
You
think.
didn't watch 28 Years Later, you watched 28 Days Later or something like that.
Yeah, I
And
turned it
this
off.
28 Years Later came out last year, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple came out this year. 28 Years Later, I'm gonna say that a lot, was okay. I think I gave it like a 6. Bone Temple, I gave a 7. Now the movies play together because the first one, I won't go into the premise or anything because I think it's worth watching. I enjoyed it. The doctor that is in the first one is he's the primary character of this movie now. So it's kind of a spin-off, if you will, of that movie. And I liked it. I think it shed some light on what was happening in the 28 Years Later. It's worth a watch. It wasn't bad. I gave it a 7. It's getting 7.3 to 8 on IMDb and SIMKL. So worth a watch. I liked it. Listen to a lot of music. I don't think I've found really anything new. Hugo Can't, I've really enjoyed. Hugo Can't would actually probably sound pretty good in your theater, Jonathan.
Hugo Cant.
We
Okay,
should start talking about that. We talk a lot about movies. We should start talking about music that we've listened
okay.
to. So Hugo Can't is an artist, and he does some cool stuff with just different kinds of audio. It's really dispersed. Like when you turn it up, it's 2-channel. It encompasses you. There's just a lot of effects. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going on. So I encourage everybody to give him a listen, and with the wide dispersion of those.
Is it an album or just like an
No,
artist?
that's the artist. He
Okay,
has
so
many albums.
just hit Apple Music and look for some of his top rated ones, or a
Yep.
specific song.
Hugo, Hugo, Kant, Kant.
I'll look him up.
Yeah.
You saw it was 2-channel and thought of me is what you did. Like, do you know me?
Oh yeah, you're my 2-channel go-to guy. Obviously, you are the man that I go to for 2-channel. Like I thought, man, this track is amazing. I'm gonna go tell my
Jonathan will never listen to and say
and
that
he is going to love it. You'll probably like it just as much as you liked K-pop Demon Hunter.
Oh yeah, that was a tragedy. Well,
that was a tragedy. I liked it.
I didn't hate it. It was
you
weird.
didn't hate it.
All the little weird vegetables coming out of their like abs in their faces, and then the like.
Oh yeah, that's just
stuff I don't even
anime stuff.
understand. Like
Yeah,
that's a
that's
different
anime
generation
stuff.
or something.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
All right. Well, listen. I found one I want you to listen to and see what you think. Let me find it real quick. Lou something. What was it? Let me find it under my demo here. Go on to the next topic. I'll bring it up in a second.
I don't have another topic. I'm ready for you to tell me what the song is.
I think it's Lou Reed. Let me just search for it and see if it comes up. Does that sound right? Lou Reed.
No, you're telling me. I don't know who this guy is.
It is Lou Reed, and it's a new song. Or he died years ago, so new is relative. I never heard it before.
How do I spell Lou?
L-O-U and then R-E-E-D. You probably would recognize him from his like 1970s song "Take a Walk on the Wild Side." What song am I listening to? That guy?
Nope.
Oh, you'd recognize it if you heard it.
Yeah, your rendition was riveting. What version or what song am I going to listen to?
All right. How do I find it in my playlist? He's got so many things.
I don't know. This is Jonathan's first time using a.
This is really poor. Sorry for the falter here, guys, but I really like the song. I just got to find it. I got to find it in my library. Actually, let me find it in my text message. I bet it's easier there. Lou Reed. Okay, here it is. Vanishing Act in my text messages.
Okay.
It is a very slow, very
live version.
I don't know if I listened to a live version. I just listened to whatever was on Apple Music. I don't know.
Okay, I got it.
It sounds to me a lot like I showed it to my wife and my daughter. They did not appreciate it. They said it sounded like he was going to die at any moment, like it was on his final breath. It is a song when he's a very old man, and he sings it a lot. Like, have you ever heard Johnny Cash "Hurt"? Like Johnny Cash's song when he was about to die, and he was just talking about how life had passed him by, and it's a song sort of like that, in that vein.
There's a lot of emotion in it.
A lot of emotion. Makes you almost tear up. And it's very, very slow, and it's almost spoken rather than sung.
I can get behind that.
His voice is kind of gone at this point in his life. I liked it a lot. See what you think. It may not be for everyone. It's very much off the beaten path as far as music choices, but I liked it. And I came across that actually from a REL subwoofer. I don't even know why it would be in that list, but it was a subwoofer songs that you may not know about that are kind of more like audiophile based, and that was in that list.
It's probably because his like T1.5X could only get to 250 hertz.
I don't know why it would be considered a subwoofer song, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
I don't understand that whole crowd, but I'm not here to argue with them on this stream.
Hey, I'll take all types of suggestions to give them a whirl. I enjoyed it.
All right, so I'm going to jump into this because I don't know why we're going with this question. It's just, I don't know. I think it was because the recommendation from Hugo Kant made me think about your JBLs. Hi, guys. This is from Wah2368. What is your overall opinion on the JBL CBT 70J1s? Would you think it's worthwhile to add front wide speakers to an existing Atmos setup and build around these speakers? Well, I can tell you first off that Jonathan really despises these speakers. These are the speakers that he absolutely...
Pretty much anytime Ryan says something about me and my perception that he's taken in, just go the polar opposite. 180 degrees.
Those are definitely not 70J1s behind Jonathan. Absolutely not. You cannot see 6 of them maybe only 5 in the image of Jonathan.
Right.
So he doesn't like them at all. No, he loves them.
Hate
And
them.
he also hates wides.
That's all we have to say about that.
That's it. We're done. Sorry, Walt. We're done with your question. Now, I think we both like them. They have a very wide dispersion.
150 degrees.
Yes.
They're all over the place.
Would you say they need to be put up a little bit?
Yes, ideally for their design, they would need to be put up a little high and higher than I have them, actually, frankly.
And that's just because of their design philosophy.
They're shaded.
They're manufactured. Yep.
The speaker has attenuation built into the crossover, so like the bottom of the J curve doesn't get as much volume coming out of it, and so they're meant to be placed high, and then that way the seat that's closest to them, much like a J curve in a stadium array or at a concert, where the J curve faces the people in the front of the audience. So if this is your audience and this is the front of the audience and this is the rear, the J curve faces down and it shades down here so that these people don't get blasted as much, and the higher SPL attribute comes out from the top of the speaker, and so that you have close proximity. So as you see here, this seat won't get blasted because the attenuated part of the speaker is closest to them, and then the loudest part of the speaker is coming out here and hitting the
This is actually JBL's documentation. It's actually somebody with their arm over their head and be like, see this right here? It goes this way, and this one goes this way. It goes like this. So those speakers are designed to send sound over a very large area. Right? That's the design premise, and that's why they're shaded. They're outdoor rated. You can sometimes see them at like running events along things. They were used in commercial cinemas. They're a commercial speaker. I mean,
right. They're a lot of times used in like public auditoriums and churches and stuff like that too, just where you want kind of an even coverage if you can. Like instead of having a big J array of speakers, you can have a speaker that does similar effect.
Similar effect. Won't get as loud because the driver's zone is big, but effect, yes. Good question.
There is, for WA 2368, there's a really extensive post and thread on AVS forum that gives a lot of information about the CBT 70J1. They have 16 soft dome tweeters, so if you're used to like what a soft dome tweeter sounds, they're going to have that kind of sound, but they're going to have a lot more headroom because there's 16 of them, and they'll do like steady 120 dB continuous. That's what JBL rates them for, like for indefinitely. So you have a lot of output with them. You have a very broad dispersion. The unique design of the CBT is pretty cool. So they have some attributes that are interesting. Give them a listen if you want.
They are good speakers. Jonathan, I'm going to let you ask this questions because you never keep up with chat. So I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to keep up with chat.
Okay. Same. Well, no, it's not. It just has the same icon color. Do you guys feel like the audio suffers at certain times when you are streaming movies from any of the streaming apps? Heck yes.
The entire time.
Yeah. Audio is like the biggest difference, in my opinion.
But it's one big act of suffering when you're streaming something in your theater.
Yeah. You don't have to go very far for this. And now there are exceptions like anything else. Kaleidoscape would be an exception. If you're streaming from like Apple TV or
Kaleidoscape isn't streaming though, it's downloading and then replaying.
That's fair. Good separation there on the facts. Fandango, any of the streaming stuff, Netflix, all of them, they lower the bit rate, and in doing so, in the compression, you'll also lose a lot of the actual bass. And it's not only bass you'll notice it in. Like we were watching Top Gun on disc not that long ago with a set of friends down here, and the disc failed, my player failed. It wouldn't go past the layer transfer. Like it stopped about halfway through the movie. We switched it over to streaming, and it was supposed to be in Atmos. We had it playing in Atmos. It was not the same quality at all from a streaming service. We even like noticed it enough that we tried a different streaming service. Same thing. Like it's just not that if you have a good sound system, you can absolutely tell the difference between streaming and disc. That's the truth of it. And there's actually the objective testing they've done. You can go to Reddit and find a bunch of threads on this where they'll hook it up to scope equipment and look at clipping factors, look at how much bass is missing, look at the actual SPL levels.
There.
It's objectively there and subjectively audible.
It's more difficult to notice the video.
Absolutely.
especially on smaller screens. Larger screens with bitrate and stuff, it becomes more visible. But I think we are less prone to being tricked, more prone to being tricked with video than we are with audio. It's easier for us to pick out issues with audio than it is with video, especially on smaller screens. Good question, though. It's absolutely a problem. Thanks, WMIT79. You didn't even read his name, Jonathan. What a failure. I don't know why I stream with you.
Krasad Korea. There you go. How do you say that one? Korea? See,
No
you
idea.
set me up for failure. That was intentional. Hi, guys. What's the best way to equalize the Marantz processor AV10? Do you thrust Dirac live with a Pro mic? Do you trust, probably, I would assume, instead of thrust?
Do you thrust Dirac with a Pro mic? That'd be something. Trust. Well, you've got a lot of experience with the AV10, so I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah, I don't have very much experience with Dirac on the AV10, but
I can talk
several of the locals do. This is going to be a subjective question for you, man. This isn't like a one size fits all. If you don't have any experience with anything and you're new to the hobby and you're a greenhorn, then probably run Odyssey or Dirac and let that be your game plan. And it's going to get you to a pretty good place, usually speaking. There's going to be variance there. It's not going to be the same based on the mic you have or the room you have or the specific setup location or even where you put your mic positions. So it's not going to be like hey, this is going to be consistent, reliable every time and everyone gets the same experience. It's just going to be a pretty decent baseline. Beyond that, once you get some experience and like if you've grown up with a EQ at home, like say when you were in the 1990s or 1980s, even 2000 range where you had graphic equalizers and you know what you like hey, you like a little cut at 2 kilohertz or you like a little boost at 8 kilohertz, that kind of stuff. If you know that in advance, just go into your graphic EQ settings under audio and, set it how you like it. Tailor it to your taste. Say you want a 3 dB boost at 125 hertz and you want a 4 dB cut at 2 kilohertz or something like that. Whatever you like, whatever works for you. I personally do the manual EQ like we're talking about here. I like a little bit of a smiley face EQ. So like in all the vehicles I ever had or when I had graphic equalizers on my stereo, I always like to cut this middle section out starting around 2 kilohertz is kind of like the biggest dip point, and then boost the bass a little bit and then boost the highs a little bit. That's just personal preference. So if you have a nice flat speaker or you just want to kind of obtain that natural EQ, you can make it however you want. If you want like a JBL curve, you would boost the lower end and drop the higher end at kind of a nice little, there's like a little hump in the middle and then kind of a trail off again at the 16 kilohertz. That would be like a JBL, like a house curve or a Harman curve. And then you got Cinema X curves, which lower the top end. Like you can play with it to your heart's delight and make your own graphic settings. If you have Odyssey or Dirac, you can, especially with Odyssey and their little $20 app, you can tailor the curve however you want, like with a finger. You hook it up on your phone and you can say like what you want your front speakers to be, what you want your subwoofer to be. You can just tailor it to taste. So I think Dirac in the consumer space on the AVRs is kind of a little bit more black box. They kind of get you what you want, what they want you to have, and then you can go from there. I know people that like all three of them and prefer all three of them. And so that's just whatever you like.
Sorry, I'm still here. I was changing filament on my 3D printer, so it would stop beeping at me.
You have anything to add there? You want me to go to the next one?
Well, did you talk at all about Dirac?
Not very much. Just said it's kind of more of like they give you what they want on the consumer AVR space more.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be them giving you what they want in the consumer AVR space. It's going to give you more control over editing the house curve than your target curve. My recommendation is you're gonna benefit more from doing PEQ on the subs, and the easiest way to do that is to add a mini DSP. And then dialing them in and then feeding them to something like Dirac and letting it do further phase correction and stuff. I think that's
if he wants to explore that space with REW and so forth and get involved.
I think Dirac in general does a really good job for doing auto EQ. Can it get things wrong? Absolutely. But you do have limited PEQ functions, as Jonathan mentioned in the AV10. And then for most people, Dirac is going to be good enough.
B.A. Cobb says, do you have a favorite recessed light for a blacked out ceiling with a deeply recessed bulb that will not cause reflections from the bulb? And Ryan, I see you sell DMF. And is that a good choice? Ryan, I don't know anything about your DMF ability to sell. What is that?
DMF is kind of like a upscale lighting product. So if you wanted to feel good about the lights you were putting in and you held something and you're like, yeah, that feels like it was actually really well made, that would be something like that instead of getting a light from a big box store. Nothing wrong with them. You just have more control. You can really fine tune what you're getting from things like DMF. And they have a lot more options than your generic lighting options. Is it necessary? No, but I think aesthetics important. And DMF gives you a lot of control over doing things like that. Like,
Do they have recessed bulbs like he's talking about specifically here?
I believe so. They have a huge catalog, so I'd have to go look. But DMF is a very good choice. They're used by a lot of custom integrators for a reason, and they're as big as they are for a reason.
I think many of these companies are not going with bulbs anymore. They're going to be LED type lights.
Yeah.
So you're going to have more of like a, well, what would it even be called? Like an opaque plastic panel that covers it's not a bulb that you'll see. It's just like an opaque white type panel that the light shines through. That's how a lot of the can lights are now.
Yeah, this is true.
I haven't really searched for nor sought recessed functionality that where the plastic film would be higher so it wouldn't reflect off, you wouldn't get light reflection off the screen, that kind of thing. I don't know much about that. It's a great question.
It is.
I don't have a good answer.
I haven't thought about that, honestly. I use a lot of tape light.
As silly as this sounds, I know one of the guys in Kansas City I'm thinking of specifically made like a little, almost like a little guide, a little hide, a little cover for the lights so that the projector light couldn't. It was almost like, imagine a little piece of plastic or a little film that he dropped from the can light on the front side that was facing the projector screen, so that light coming from the screen wouldn't reflect into his vision sitting on the couch. So like imagine like a little shade in front of the LED that prevents the projector light from reflecting off the screen and reflecting then from the light to your face. So that little shade is less noticeable in a movie with a lit up screen and a dark room than is not having it. So even though it looks a little weird with the lights on, with the lights off, that's his goal. That a little workaround.
Good question.
Bing Dong says, so have you guys seen the new firefighting tool? It's a flexible tube that shoots.
I love that name.
Which is just completely kills fire.
I mean, it makes sense.
I haven't seen it.
I have not seen that.
But I've seen another little video that was interesting lately where they were levitating little pebbles with sound. And it was in the context of how the Egyptians might have built the pyramids. Take it for what it's worth, but it was working with pebbles, which is interesting. They were saying if you could figure out how to expand on that. Because they have 1,200 ton rocks that have made like, pieces of some of these ancient infrastructures, and they're like, we can't even do that today. How would they do it? That weight of that stone would have crushed the logs that they supposedly would have rolled it on, because it's so heavy the logs would just crush into sawdust, into dust.
I don't know.
So they were trying to figure out how they were moving those stones, and that was something that they had brought up for fun.
Water? I don't know. Good question.
What floats on water? It's tiny stones.
Very small rocks. Churches.
All right. Pedro says, hey, what's the way to connect the Win Ultra streamer to get the best from Cubase RCA or optical to my Denon receiver?
I would do optical.
Optical is limited to 5.1. Does a Cubase, is that just audio or is that video too?
RCA is not going to give him anything over 5.1.
What Cubase are we talking about? We might need a little bit more information. Is that like I mean, I know it's a product line.
The Weem Ultra, the Weem, I don't even know if it supports
Cubase music streaming. I'm pulling up something. That's a music service. I was thinking that was a streamer.
No, the Weem Ultra streamer.
Okay, backing up.
Weem Ultra.
Weem Ultra.
I don't know what it supports.
Streaming music player.
My guess would be is it does not support multi-channel out.
But it says 4 products, and none of them look like they do from the 4 I'm looking at.
So your best connection is going to be optical, Toslink, and let the Denon's DAC do it. Does have a Saber DAC on it.
Yeah, 32-bit, 384 hertz decoding.
So it's got a good DAC, but
I don't know, something like that. Experiment, man.
Yeah.
RCA cables don't cost hardly anything, and for a short run, it doesn't even matter. If you look over at like ASR and watch his testing, it just doesn't matter. So plug in a cheap pair of RCAs to test it, see if you can tell any difference. Plug your optical cable in, test it. Both those cables are inexpensive to try, and go from there.
Does Denon have?
They're supposed to have a good
pass-through mode.
Yeah, they're supposed to have a good one on the analog section. Like their analog section for RCA is supposed to be real good.
Yeah, try both. Make sure you gain match though, and if you gain match, I doubt you're going to be able to tell the difference.
Ryan, can you ask Ben Goff, this is from Superfly, to include some images in the next installment of room treatment or room integration? Make it practical. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, I'll tell him everything that he does sucks and that he needs to be more like Jonathan, obviously.
No, yeah, I think it's just saying like, hey, show us some of your work.
Yeah, if that's what he wants, absolutely. We can.
They probably, I assume, since he's a professional installing company, they probably have a website with some of their client customers.
Yeah, some of them are under NDA, so they can't talk about them. But we can, maybe you're talking about example images of like where things need to go and what things we're talking about. We can probably do that. I don't remember what the next topic we're going to talk about is. Let me see what him and I were talking about. What did we? Jeff Beck. Oh, we're going to talk about how to read Clipple data, and we're going to start with frequency response, which seems really basic, but we're going to go all the way through the spinorama. So we'll do frequency, then we'll do CEA 2034, and then all that entails, which is pretty big. And then we'll jump down to probably like step responses and distortion. Then we'll get into CEA 2010 and other stuff. So it'll be many episodes, but that's our next thing.
Daniel Philpott says, wanted to say thank you to both of you for your objective and honest takes. I purchased the AV30 per your recommendation, Ryan, and I saved myself 3,000 smackers towards upgrading to art and the room.
Good. Cool. I'm glad you could save yourself some money. Hopefully it's all beneficial and it's all working out how you thought it would, and you don't secretly hate me. Jonathan does every day.
So. How do you figure out how much support your speakers can provide for Dirac art? Crossover frequency is a good point to start.
Yeah. Spinorama data is very important. That CEA 2010 and looking at the compression information for where the speakers run out of gas. And then also you can't just look at that and go, well, I can push it to this level because your preamp AVR has to be able to output that level of voltage to make sure you can get there. And then your amp has to be able to output that level of amperage to be able to, or current to be able to make sure you can get there. So it's a sum of its parts, not each thing individually, but a good starting point is to look at spinorama data.
Now, I think you and Ben had talked about this in one of your podcasts, and it's kind of something that's intuitive to guys who have done this for a long time, but maybe not to new guys. If you measure a ported speaker and it has a lot of output and it's put up against the wall and you're measuring it at a low level, you might think like, hey, this has good output to like 40 hertz or 50 hertz. But it doesn't really do that when you start turning it up, because that's not really where the capability of the speaker is. It's like it's getting some boundary gain. It's not pushing too hard. It's not going to break up or sound like it's overloaded. But as you turn it up on like a small driver, that can come into play. And I'll give it the classic example would be like, hey, we were on our Iowa trip recently. The crossovers on some of these audiophile speakers that were very small drivers, like 6-inch drivers, they were loaded against the wall, and the receiver put them at like 40 hertz. Those things shouldn't have been any lower than like 120 hertz in practice. And the receiver had misgauged them because it didn't try to play them at loud volumes, and it was getting all that boundary gain and it misjudged them. So that's something that has to enter the equation too. Is there an easy way to navigate that? Not so much.
Spinorama data will tell you that. You'll see in the CEA 2010 when it starts coming down and what the natural roll without DSP is the important part, but you'll see the natural roll off of the speaker and then you can gauge where that is. But again, you need to make sure that you take into consideration the voltage output from the preamp and then whatever your current output from the amp is, and because those can induce clipping as well. So you got to look at everything and figure out where the limit is, or you could just be a little conservative.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting conundrum, right? Because if you're trying to do bass reinforcement with that art, trying to eliminate standing bass waves and effectively trying to play subwoofer type sounds, if you don't measure those speakers at high SPL, then you don't know if the speaker is even capable of like doing what it's designed to do. So, do you know? Like, I don't know the answer to this, so I don't fault you if you don't. Do you know where Dirac, like what SPL it's testing those speakers at for that type of functionality and its routine? Is it just do like 85 hertz, or does it go higher? I'm sorry, 85 dB, or does it go higher than that? Like what
For
volume
what?
for its testing to figure out how much it can?
It doesn't push anything like that. You really have to go back and manually establish your support groups.
So then it's on
And
the
you
customer.
can very easily, if you go past this, blow up a speaker.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. I mean, it's coming to mind with that gentleman we saw in the Iowa crawl, where Odyssey had calibrated those to 40 hertz. They were not 40 hertz capable.
Not even just that.
So if Dirac did the same thing and it's
I
trying
had
to,
a customer that did a room. We did a room for him. Put in speakers. This was before Art came out. This is a few years ago. And speakers did fine. Art came out. Support groups got put in. Speaker blew up.
yeah,
Because the speaker is now not only playing what you're asking it to play, it's also supporting other speakers at the same time.
sure,
So you're double dipping. And if the speaker can't keep up, it's going to pop.
sure.
Or it's going to get bloated. Something's going to fail. And it's usually the speaker. So I would encourage you to do and put in more headroom than you potentially think. Larger drivers help, more subs help, but Spinorama data, guys. The more data you have, the more informed decision you can make, the better the end result's going to be. Good question.
Daniel Philpott says, oh, we already saw that one.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. WA2368. Have different pro audio speakers you all heard sounded worse, equal, or better than hi-fi speakers after proper setup? That's a loaded question.
Both?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, just like there are with audiophile speakers, there's all kinds of grades of pro audio speaker. You go into Guitar Center right now and buy like $100 pro audio speaker that would sound like trash, frankly. It would it wouldn't be as clean or as nice at higher volumes. It's not going to have like a good crossover frequency between the woofer and the main driver. The distortion will be higher, like those types of things. So you can't lump all pro audio into the same category, just like you can't lump all hi-fi speakers in the same category.
I agree. I think it's most speakers are going to sound decent at lower volumes. Do you agree with that? It's when you start turning it up, in most cases, that things are going to start having issues. Now, there are some speakers that are just abhorrently bad, that are bad at everything. That is absolutely can happen. And there are speakers out there that is true for. But a lot of speakers, it's really only an issue when you start moving past what they're capable of. And that in and of itself is not wrong. I want to make sure that that's understood by everybody. Just because every speaker can't play to reference level does not mean that that speaker that can't do it is bad. It just means that it wasn't designed for that purpose. And asking it to do that is not wise because you're outside of its intended behavior. So I'd actually say that at lower listening volumes, a soft dome tweeter is probably one of the best you can listen to. Would you agree?
Pretty smooth.
Yeah. But it's going to run out of juice unless you start like you do with your CBTs, unless you put a bunch next to each other and start loading them up into a line array. You got to stay within the speaker's capabilities. Is there a speaker that jumps out to you as abhorrently bad?
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to say it on.
I don't really want to say it
stream
either.
here.
No.
I mean, you guys have probably heard it. Like I've been in a lot of speaker comparisons, and sometimes you get one that's especially like. Sometimes you get one from the do-it-yourself community where they didn't have the knowledge they needed to have to make what they made, and it doesn't sound good because it's not like if you took a frequency response clip of it, it's not well matched. It's not good mating of the crossover frequency. It's like you got issues. So sure. And then you run into the thing like, well, it sounded good to them. That's why they designed it that way, but it doesn't sound good to the majority of people.
Yeah. And there's some really expensive speakers out there, hi-fi speakers that are really bad, that I just despise. I won't name names, but there's more out there than you think. And people buy them because they're expensive. We should do that, Jonathan.
And I do think that generally people have their, I mean, we've talked about this many times on the podcast, so this is nothing new, but people have their own preferences for the sound that they like, and the different types of tweeters and compression drivers and horn loaded things and all that. They all sound a little different, just a little bit. And I don't think that that's only EQ. I think, personally speaking, that like a compression driver sounds different than a tweeter, and that a soft dome sounds different than a ribbon tweeter. And there are differences to be had there. They sound different in their manifestation, if nothing else.
So there's, I think it's measurable. I just don't think if you're looking at a spinorama that it's measured in that data.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because you'll have people that say that you can make them all sound alike, and I'm not sure that that's the case. At least not with like an above average or even average type capability. Maybe some sort of expert could make them sound the same, but certainly not with like an auto EQ. We've done many shootouts where you just like let Odyssey run against all of them, and then you compare them back to back to back, and the results are completely different. So certainly not an auto EQ can't do it.
No.
Maybe some sort
auto EQ will sound different on two of the same speaker in two different runs.
Sure. I mean, dramatically different. And something very specifically comes to mind. Yeah. I mean, we've just done it so many times. If you look at my room thread, I have a list in the first post, and I kind of stopped updating like 5 years ago, but of all the very many speaker EQ, speaker comparisons, speaker EQ comparisons we did, and they're all very different. Like strong preferences among the audience. And even then the audience didn't even line up on the same thing. We might prefer different things based on our own personal preferences, but very strong preferences speaker to speaker.
I agree.
Okay, so then Stitch asks my friend Tim, hey, is there any movies this week that we're supposed to watch? Because last week we didn't really have one that we were supposed to watch, I don't think. So do we have something for this week coming? We usually kind of discuss it at the end. We can kick it. What's the next Alien after Aliens 4? I'm kind of in this
Prometheus.
I like Prometheus. Okay, I've already seen that one.
I liked Prometheus. I didn't like it the first time I watched it. I went back and watched it again, and I really liked it. Then you have Alien Covenant. Now these are not in chronological order.
I haven't seen Covenant yet.
The order they came out. And then you have, what was the last one?
Is there a Resurrection or something, or is that an AVP one? Maybe that's an Alien vs. Predator.
I don't remember what it came out last year.
No, Resurrection is number 4. I'm thinking of something different.
Yeah, what was it? Chad will tell me. I think we watched. You liked it.
We didn't watch it together, did we?
No, it was just one of the movies we needed to watch. Oh, I also watched Avatar: Fire and Ash.
What did you think about that one?
It was bad. Romulus. That's right. I need to watch Romulus again.
That might be That's really up there. It's as good as the first two, in my opinion. Maybe better. You didn't think so?
I need to watch it again to know. But anyway, I watched Avatar: Fire and Ash. It was bad. I actually don't think it looked as good as the second one.
Really?
Yeah. That could have been.
So I didn't see the second one in the theater in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And I did the third one with a Christie, with the commercial version of the Christie. It was cool. It was really good looking in the theater.
Yeah. I didn't see it in 3D. The movie wasn't good.
I agree.
My daughter enjoyed it, but she's not watching it over and over again like she is Ready Player One. So for next movie, what's come out? I want to watch Bride. That's not out yet.
Wait a minute. That's on Netflix, right? Frankenstein? Bride?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to. Well, it's out on Kscape. It's $40. I'm not gonna
wait for a sale.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna wait for a sale. Let's see my movies. I can't do it in that order. I got Dust Bunny, Nuremberg. I heard Nuremberg's supposed to be good.
Hey, I didn't watch this real recently, but did you watch The Last Walk?
Mm-mm.
I watched that one a few weeks ago and it kind of stuck in my head. I don't know that I recommend it. It's the one where they enter a contest. It's a Stephen King novel that they made into a movie. They make them walk 3 miles an hour, and if you slower than 3 miles an hour, they shoot you, they kill you.
Oh,
and the winner gets like basically
I watched that.
life that's not terrible. I mean, they get
I watched that.
Kind of like Hunger Games type.
That was the movie we were supposed to watch one week. We watched it.
Did we talk about it? I don't remember talking
about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has that one stuck with you? That one stuck with me. Probably because it's.
I remember it, but
no.
It was The Long Walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that.
I don't recommend it. It's just one of those that kind of gets in your head a little bit, I think, or it got in my head.
Do you want to watch? Is Nuremberg on anything?
Is that that's Russell Crowe?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to watch that one.
All right, let's do Nuremberg. It's been recommended to me from a few people, so I need to watch that. So we'll do Nuremberg. We'll watch that. I know nothing about it, which is how I like going into movies.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Or are we wrapping up early this week?
Well, I wasn't watching the live chat, so
I'm adding them as they come in.
Okay, so I'll head back to pinned here. So MW asks, do you know any info on the JBL SCL10XL?
No, I do not. I'm not the guy to ask about that, unfortunately. I'll know when they come out, but he's going to tell me, oh, they're out already. I don't know anything about them.
Your thoughts on pro speakers in a home setting like the JBL 4722N, and this is theater at reference. Nice handle there, theater at reference.
I don't think I would do those.
Elaborate.
They're not made for small rooms. And I think that may cause problems for, I got to think of the word, for like driver convergence where the sound is converging.
So can I ask you how that's different than what your 15s are from Black Swans? Like they have similar style layouts.
Maybe I need to look
driver
at
and a big
compression
driver with a horn.
Yeah, I see. I thought they were something else. I think they'd be fine. As long as are these active speakers?
No, they're actually what Sheldon has in his room. So it's a 15-inch woofer, pro audio, and it's built for actual commercial installations. but a 15-inch woofer with a compression driver, and you can get an upgraded compression driver, which Sheldon has as well. It's like a higher quality one with a waveguide, a bigger waveguide, I think. They're very, very, very popular on AVS forum.
Yeah, I think they'd be fine.
Like there's a super long thread with a lot of people that use them. And they're literally for commercial theaters. I mean, that's what they come from.
No, those would be fine.
We missed a conversation from our friend Chris, but I didn't see it. Okay, is this it? This is probably it. Just shuffling through them real quick, looking for his handle. Looking forward to Pixel Pusher's N500 G Nor Max comparison in his Batcave. What are your predictions on the outcome? At what screen size do you think the comparison might flip the other way? What was your actual opinion on the Zimi Max, the Zimi Titan Max, not the Nor, because we haven't seen that yet, but the Titan Max? Like, did you get to spend enough time with it to?
The light bleed would drive me nuts.
Mm-hmm. Did you put it on your screen in your main theater room, or did you just see it on the side, or did you even get to spend much time?
I had it on there, and it's fine. I can see the RBE, and I don't like it.
Sure. And the RBE reduction mode, from what they're saying, is not yet fully cooked.
No.
They're saying that it doesn't even exist on the ZB Titan that we saw. Like, that doesn't even exist there. But they have it on the Nor. It's from Texas Instruments directly, but apparently it caused dithering issues, which I'm disappointed in, because if they don't get that sorted out by the time it ships, I'm probably going to cancel my pre-order. I pre-ordered it for what it's worth, but I see RBE too, and that's going to be a deal breaker for me. So from my perspective, and we already made like a thread on this on AVS forum and kind of talked to it a little bit and stuff. I was impressed with the Titan Max. I thought it was 80 to 85% of the QL3000 for 1/4 of the price. And that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
And that's ignoring RBE, because I wouldn't own it with RBE, but just like putting that aside and saying, I don't see this, like, let's say I don't see it, and then you're there. That's
Here's my biggest issue with it is you have to hunt for settings for virtually every piece of content in order to get it close to the Epson. And no one is going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I mean, a realistic person that buys this is not going to go, hey, let me go play with all of these settings for 15 minutes to try and figure out optimal viewing conditions for this one piece of content and then play it. They're not going to do that. So I agree that if you're chasing performance per the dollar, it's great value. But even if you compare it to something like an LS12000, main differentiate, well, you're gaining contrast in comparison to the QL, and you're losing brightness. So there's a trade there. I'd probably still take the LS12000, mainly because I don't want to hunt with settings. I'm throwing out RBE here. I'm sensitive to RBE. I won't own it because of RBE, but I'm trying not to make that a detractor, because a lot of people supposedly aren't. I think more people are than know they are, but trying not to make that a thing. I don't like that you have to hunt for settings. I think it's I just don't like it. I couldn't think of a way to put that. I'd rather have consistency.
So I've been following that thread intensely, like pretty much read most every post. Maybe not every post. It's a really fast moving thread, but a lot of the posts. I think it's an exciting projector, and I think it's still not as polished as some of the people in the forum say it is.
Yeah.
Because if you read between the lines, you got certain people in there saying this is the holy grail. Like, this is what we've all been waiting for. And then you got other people coming in and saying, like, well, what about this issue? What about this issue? What about this issue? What about this issue? It's the same sort of thing that we saw with the Valerian, where there was like a whole lot of like almost hype about it. Like, it was an amazing product. But then there was some cracks in the armor as you got that. And since then, I think you can kind of read that. I mean, I get PMs from people. I get notes from people. I see it on the forum where people like, I really like the Valerian Max, but there's certain nuances with it, little fidgety issues that made me want to move back to a mainstream thing. I'm hoping that's not the case with the Zimi Titan. I think from what I read that it seems like it's a little bit more shored up, even than like the Valerian Max state is currently, even though it's still a little fidgety. These Chinese DLP manufacturers seem to release things in kind of almost like a beta state. They're just cranking at the launch dates and just trying to make them go as fast as they can, and then fixing them later and truly fixing them. I think they continue to support them. I think this could be a significantly better than Projector than Valerian Max, and I liked the Valerian Max for what it's worth.
I don't know that it'll be. I didn't
Gonna
mind
it's gonna
Valerian
be
Max for the
brighter,
money wasn't bad if
and
you
it's
weren't
supposed to be
paying
less
full price.
fidgety already for the people that have it. If they're assuming that we're just reading honest
You're
evaluation.
saying fidgety is not having to chase
Fidgety
settings.
is in chasing settings all the time.
Okay. Yeah,
So
maybe.
so, yes, you'll still have to chase more settings than, like, the JVC NZ500,
Mhm.
but I just tell you from seeing the Titan Max, and that's the predecessor to this Titan Or Max, it was already pretty impressive, and if you're willing to tinker a little bit, which I like to tinker, so not everyone does, when you're willing to tinker a little bit, you can get to a really fantastic image.
But
But there
that's
were times where it
tinkering.
bested the QL3000 with tinkering.
But that's per content.
Yes, it is.
And
I hear you. I totally
I don't
understand
wanna
that.
do that. I'm gonna take another opposite approach here. I think these projectors are great for the industry.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that the Valerian Max or the Extreme Titan are bad. I think they bring a tremendous amount of performance for the dollar. I think they do tremendously well in for what you're paying for. The problem I come at this from a dealer custom integrator side where the majority of my customers are not gonna want to change settings all the time, and I would get a phone call about it. Like, "Hey, this doesn't look as good as it used to." So, maybe for the enthusiasts, I think they may be fine. Um, I'm hoping the Noir takes it up another step, but I
Yeah.
can't use them because of RBE.
Well, my hope is because it's Texas Instrument doing the RBE that they should get that a handle on it. It's a little bit disappointing that it's not there now,
Yeah,
frankly. But they say the guys that have it are being transparent in the sense of saying the RBE mode, anti-RBE mode right now is not usable. Well,
yeah.
that's a deal breaker if they don't get it figured out. So I'm giving a little bit of grace to get it figured out. Now, to the question that 314 asked directly, that Chris asked directly, will it beat the NZ500 at like dark content? No,
No.
just not. Just it's not going to do it. And no matter what you read on ABS forum, it's not going to do it. And there's people on there that are saying that, and there's people that are saying it will, and there's
There's people that are saying the Titan Max is already doing it.
yeah, I mean, it just can't. The numbers don't lie. They're advertising a 10,000 to 1 contrast ratio. JVC's at what, like 30,000 to 1 type thing for the
Well, and that
NZ500?
10,000 to 1, remember, is not
And that's a dynamic
at
contrast.
whatever 6,000 lumens or whatever they're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
That
It's
is
down at
up,
like
down,
1,000 or
2,000 or
1,500
1,000.
type lumens.
Yes. So, you're into where the NZ500 lives, but the NZ500 is gonna trounce it
At
past
that
that.
content, at the
Yes.
dark dim content. The contrasting thing is though that Nor, that Titan Nor Max is going to go quite a bit brighter than the JVC. So it's got a dynamic iris that's a little fidgety from what I read, but if you stop it at these different f-stops, if you go to a higher f-stop, like a higher number, then
Mhm.
you get a really bright picture. You can get 3 or 4,000 lumens out of
Has
it.
anybody measured its intrascene?
It's supposed to be very high. Like, there's numbers on ABS forum, but they're preliminary and they're not all matching between the reviewers, so I would hate to quote it, but they're supposed to be they probably will be higher than the NZ500 potentially at the intrascene stuff, because DLP usually is.
Yeah.
Although this JVC, specifically the NZ500, is like a
It's
record
quite
breaker
high.
for intrascene. It's like 500 to 1, which is great for like any of them. It's a number that used to be like the standard, and maybe they've gone a little higher than that now in this standard, but very, very good historically for a JVC. The best of any JVC historically is the NZ500, NZ700 for intrascene contrast. At any rate, I expect it to be a better bright performer, like for brighter, bigger screens than the NZ500, but I expect the NZ500 to be a lot more mature product, a lot better if you just want like a normal 120-inch screen and you have a dark themed theater. Like the NZ500's best in class for that type of use case, and the Normax will give you it'll give you some flexibility. It'll be kind of a jack of all trades. It'll give you a very, I think, reasonable picture, a fun picture. From all accounts, it's really nice already in the dark stuff, and then the ability to go bright if you wanna leave some lights on or something too, and you wanna change your f-stop.
Now, this leads me into the conversation that you and I were talking about before, and we're not gonna name names, and I'm not gonna focus specifically on the projector. There's a lot of content creators out there that I don't think are
On the hype
honest.
bandwagon hard.
Yeah. That's being nice about it on some of the stuff that they talk about. You had mentioned somebody. You had an example that wasn't necessarily about projection. I don't remember what it was. Can you give it again?
Yeah, I mean, I just watched a video right before I jumped on here. It was a new one about the Titan Or Max, and the guy was talking about how this is, like, best every projector that's come out, and you'd have to spend $15,000 on a JVC to beat this before now. I don't believe that for a second. I just don't. And it's not from lack of exposure. I mean, gosh, we've done projector shootouts with, like, 4 and 6 and, top flagships to bottom stuff multiple times in the last 4 or 5 years. And that doesn't ever really pan out the way these influencers are selling it. It just doesn't. So, I mean, case in point, this Titan Max threw a really good image. We all liked it. But everybody there were 6 of us there. All 6 of us thought the QL3000 did a better job. Now, that's not what you're gonna hear on the forums,
No.
but that's what it was. It was just a more mature picture. You could get to the the QL6000, sorry, the QL3000, you could get to that picture level and sometimes surpass it. But as Ryan was saying, it was like source content. Like you'd have to fiddle with settings to get there, and then the next content you would fiddle with settings to get there again. Whereas the QL3000 is kind of like not as
And
many options,
then
not as
my
much.
question becomes is if you're correcting it for that particular scene,
Mhm.
are you screwing it up for a different scene
Yes, the answer
when
is
things
yes.
change? So
But pause that to say that with firmware advancements, the
maybe,
goal and the hope is
yes,
that it's not that in the future.
maybe. I'm hopeful. I am hopeful. But this is the kind of stuff that I wish people were honest about this instead of jumping on the hype wagon, jumping on the hype train and saying this is the best thing ever. And it's funny, I'm going to say this cuz I frankly don't care. It's funny how people were doing it about the Valerian, then a lot of the people that were doing it about the Valerian are now are on the Max saying that the Valerian has it. So it's all of this to say validate your sources and try and take it in from multiple places, from not people that are all about the hype. I would watch Sammy Prescott is a great resource for this stuff. Um, Andy Pixel Pusher is a good resource for this stuff.
And he's getting one soon.
He is getting
And
one.
he has an NZ500, so that'll be a great
Yeah,
resource for
does
this
he
question.
have like professional level meters now?
I don't know, actually.
I don't know for Andy, so I can't comment on that. But if you want a reliable resource that I know of, look up Sammy Prescott because he's a professional calibrator, travels all over the country, um, and he's one of the best calibrators in the country, and he has gear that can look at this stuff. He does it professionally, and he reviews projectors, and he will post these measurements. Like your Intrascene, he'll talk about it. Your Native, he'll talk about it. So if you want something that is objective, take a look at what he's no skin in the he'll no skin in the game for that. He'll tell you what it is. So just make sure you're validating your sources. Not saying anybody's bad or trying to be malicious, but there's a lot of hype about it. And it's exciting. We didn't have this for many years, right?
And I think it's exciting in several forms. A, you're getting a heck of a lot of performance for the money. We already talked about
Yes.
that. This is on Kickstarter, it's a $2,800 projector, and it's going to perform a lot better than what you had at, like, I'm gonna say this might even be enough of a hype that I shouldn't be saying it, but I'm gonna say it's probably gonna perform like a 6, 8, $10,000 projector at 2.8. Assuming they work out the kinks and the bugs, it's going to be a good performer based on what we saw with the Titan Max and this one being a step up.
Now take what Jonathan says with a grain of salt. Do not expect that it's going to. We think it will, but
We
they've got to fix some stuff.
Yeah, if they get the engine firing on all cylinders,
It
basically.
can. There is potential, but
Mhm.
don't buy and expect it to be fixed. It might. I'm hopeful it will,
You might
but
have to be patient. If you buy this, you might have to think of it as a diamond in the rough.
sure.
That's the truth. And what's kind of exciting is a lot of the guys on the forum are saying, and maybe I don't know how much of this is hype or not. We'll know more as time goes on. But a lot of the guys are saying like it's not as fidgety as you'd expect. It's just not. Like in viewing, they're saying it's not. Now, we'll see. Everyone has a little bit of different criteria for that.
Yeah.
how much nonsense or how much tinkering you like to deal with.
We'll see. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Anything else?
The one thing that I don't understand, and I put this in the thread too, so it's not gonna be news to anybody that reads that thread. There's so many people excited about its black level performance. They're like, "Hey, at 1,800 lumens, it can do like 6,000 to 1 contrast ratio and stuff." Like, that's amazing for a DLP. And I'm thinking like, "Well, wait. Sony and JVC have doubled or tripled that for years, not just this generation, years." Now, DLP has higher interesting contrast, we get that, but not so much anymore with the JVNC 500. So at this thing's retail price, it's supposed to be $6,000 retail, 2.8 for Kickstarter. I don't know if it'll ever hit 6,000, but at 6,000 on a traditional screen, like there's no, I mean, I just can't even imagine that somebody would pick that over a NZ500 if you want like a dark themed room. If you got a living room display or you got something that you need a really big, large screen, absolutely. But it's not going to dethrone. Please don't think it's going to dethrone the NZ500 at the dark content.
I'm just going to throw this out for context. This is at the complete opposite of the spectrum. So you're talking, 6,000 to 1 at 1,800 lumens. I realize this is at a totally different price point. The Griffin is doing 6,000 to 1 at almost 35,000 lumens. And we've measured it. Like it does that linearly all the way up. And it's almost 6,000 lumens all the way up. So it's way more expensive. But for that one guy to say this is the pinnacle of DLP, it's been good for a while. It's now starting to get into a much more approachable price point.
Approachable price for actually agreeable performance.
Now,
DLP has been bad performance for a long time at the lower ADLs.
The 6,000 to 1 contrast for putting in context with a single chip DLP is very good. No question for that price. Like the Griffin is a 3 chip. It uses a over 1 inch DMD. I mean, it's huge. The Griffin's enormous. It's over $100,000 MSRP projector. For this projector, even though it's only at 1,800 lumens on a single chip DLP, to do that level of native contrast is really good. I mean, native contrast on a lot of single chip DLPs is abysmal and was for a long time. I mean, you're talking 1,000 to 1, maybe, on a lot of them. So I'm glad that they're making strides and making progress. This is great for the industry. I'm not upset about this product like some people may think I am. I'm not. I just want people to know and have as much information as they can to have the correct expectation when they go into something. And I'm hopeful it does well.
So MW asks, hey, do they have some sort of pulsing tech to improve blacks like Vader and Dynablack? They do. This Titan Nor has a thing called DBLE, which is supposedly not as aggressive as EBL on the Valerian Max and less artifact prone in that context. So they do, and you can turn it on or turn it off. And that's how they get below the native contrast significantly and the dynamic irises.
Yeah. And laser dimming's not new. How the big boys like Christie and I won't talk specifically about how they're doing it, and Barco are doing it, they're just more accurate while it's happening. One of the biggest issues with, and maybe Xgimi has fixed this. I don't know. I don't know enough about how they're doing it. But you have issues with color accuracy and color shift as you go through this dimming process has been a historical problem.
Well, see, that's something else that they're supposed to have really a good handle on with this one is the color shift that's famous on the Valerian Max, for instance, on the forums right now, because people are tired of it, is supposed to be not as prevalent an issue on this Titan Nor Max.
Good.
Specifically in the formulated f-stop spots that you pick, like an F4, an F2, that type of thing, versus dynamic mode. So, and as time goes on, those type of things should even get better.
Good.
Now, here's of interest. Xgimi has 3 employees in the AVS forum thread that are answering questions and stuff. That's cool. I hats off to them for doing that. One of the things they mentioned is that they probably are going to have a follow-up with a 4K chip. Because somebody was asking about that, like, why do you have the .78 inch chip in the Titan Max versus the .48 new chip, like the SST chip in this Titan Normax? Like, why didn't you use .78? And are you going to do a 4K implementation of the Titan Normax at any point? Was like the question answered. And the Zemi Tech just wrote like a little like smiley face on it, like that's in the works is how that was supposed to be read. Well, these things are coming out hot and heavy. They're fast and furious, just hitting the door. It probably won't be long before they do release, and it will be a significant uptick in price from what I've read. Like the actual cost from Texas Instruments is a lot more for the native 4K chips. So it won't be a $2,800 projector, but that's probably down the pipe pretty soon to get a 4K version instead of a 1080p E-Shift, a 4K version of this kind of technology.
Yeah, there's some limiting factors when you change resolutions and stuff. So there are some advantages to the 2K chips. So it's not all advantageous going to 4K, but cost is a significant detractor.
Yeah, I mean, somebody in the thread, and this is secondhand. I have no idea if this guy knows what he's talking about, but he acted like he did in his post. He was saying that the 0.47 inch chip that they use on a lot of these projectors, even this new range, are in the hundreds of dollars. That's the cost that the suppliers pay to get it from Texas Instrument. Where the 4K chips are in the multiple thousands of dollars just for the chip itself, for the DLP chip itself. So if you're trying to make a product to market and your main chip costs that much difference, it's going to be sizable. By the time you get to the end of the device, it's going to be a sizable uptick.
Those pixels get a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you pin any more? I was kind of reading the real.
Yeah, I pinned some.
Let me see where we're at here. Big Street Cinema 5.1 for a computer without using the video card. Is it possible to use HDMI on the motherboard, or is it a good audio card I can use?
You could use HDMI.
Sure.
It'll detect it, or should.
Sure.
As long as you have the correct driver.
Peter Trimba says, are there pro speakers designed for home theater so you don't get surround speakers with 10-inch woofers? Yeah, absolutely there are. We were just talking about with this JBL 4722.
No. He's asking for like smaller pro speakers.
Oh, I read that backwards.
I mean, you're more into like active monitors, but sure.
There's a lot of 8-inch pro speakers on the very smallest side of them, and at least in America. Like on the European side, there's Wharfdale that makes pro audio speakers with 8-inch drivers. On the American side, there's quite a few different companies. If you don't want it 10, but I don't know that there's very many pro audio speakers that go smaller than 8 because that's not really their use case. At least if you go to like Guitar Center or Musician's Friend or that kind of stuff.
There's active monitors that do, but not like pro speakers. No.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call a studio monitor the same thing as a pro audio speaker, at least not in my head.
No, I guess
they could, depending on how you view it, it could be. Jeff says, Ryan, how does your integration work between waveforming and infrasonics? Does it make any difference where you put the infras in the room with waveforming front versus back?
So Dirac, as of right now, and waveforming, I think with Dirac, it's been a while since I've done a calibration there, cannot know that the infrasonic subs exist because they don't, at least with Dirac, it doesn't know what to do with them. With waveforming, they're different subs, so it can't implement them into the waveforming array. So they're added later. Waveforming, it's done through a QSC QSYS 110F, and then on the Storm, I do it through Zone 2, is where the infrasonics live, and I duplicate the outputs from Zone 1 to Zone 2, and then the infrasonics take over there. So you do have to find some ways around, and you do need to do some DSP work in order to get them to integrate properly for the crossover points. As far as positioning, I have them in both places. Most people will put them in the back. I think a lot of times because they're closer to seating, but the waveforms are so large that it really shouldn't matter where you put them. You're not going to be able to localize them. Just make sure you have enough.
I think we're all caught up on the questions. As I look at the live questions, I haven't read all of them.
Darren, I'll just add this. I did a stream on M-Wave, I think last week. So I would encourage you to go watch that one. It'll be in the AV Experience playlist, and you can get an update on M-Wave. Any other questions? I don't think so. You got anything, Dad?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we're going to watch Nuremberg.
Yeah, and you're going to listen to Lou Reed, Vanishing Act.
Yes, and I'm going to have an emotional moment. You're going to listen to Hugo Kant.
Yes.
And we're going to add music into this if we come across any music that we can suggest to each other. That's all I got.
Oh, we're doing a demo tomorrow. We got somebody.
We are doing a demo tomorrow. Do you know where he's coming in from? St. Louis?
He said it in the post, but I
can't remember.
Lost it in my head.
But he's getting in around lunchtime.
He and his wife are coming in.
So that'll be fun. I guess I'm coming to your place. I don't want to leave him just with you. I'm sure it'll be great, but yeah. I want to watch you do this. It's my favorite part of the day. Watching Jonathan do the projector dance. Okay, we'll wrap it up. If anybody has any suggestions for topics, drop them in the comments. M-Wave is coming September 18th through the 20th, though it did change. We made it drastically smaller. We went from 14 rooms to 3, but I think that was in the best interest of everybody because, we're in a weird place. The world is right now, and I just felt it was. Watch the stream, previous stream. It'll explain everything. No point going into that. But 18th through the 20th will be a good time. It's great for the community. If you do come, you'll enjoy it. There are a few tickets left for the VIP experiences. Jonathan's room is almost sold out if it's not already. Mine is sold out, so they are filling up. I don't have many seats, so it's not hard for mine to sell out. Jonathan has like a full stadium back there, so but you'll enjoy it if you guys do come. So if you're on the fence, don't hesitate. But again, if you guys got a suggestion for a topic, drop it in chat, and we'll see you guys in the next one next week sometime, whenever we decide to stream. Whenever I decide to ask Jonathan, hey, you want to stream? He goes, yes. And that's how we figure it out.
You told the truth this time.
I did.
Like a miracle.
I did. I asked you, do you want to stream Friday? And I got 3 letters. Yes. And that was it. All the text said. So I knew. And then I made the stream. But anyway, stay safe out there. Enjoy.